Hello and welcome back to SweetSpotDFS. If you're with me during the preview video for the Waste Management Open, thank you for watching. This video is dedicated strictly to lineup construction. I'll go through my unique way of creating lineups, a little bit more in depth than what I usually do in preview videos. If you've been watching since the beginning of the year, I basically do a preview plus lineup construction all in one video. This time I decided to split it into two. That way I can get a little bit more in depth with my process. Maybe you guys are able to follow along, maybe not. For those that are analytically minded like myself, you'll probably enjoy it. Those that don't will just think it's process by analysis. But I hope to make it at least fun and hopefully give you guys a little bit of insight you probably didn't have, or just ideas that you probably didn't think of. I'll go ahead and throw up the show index, or what I mean, it's the player pool criteria, basically. This is what I'm looking for in golfers when constructing lineups. The first one is shots gained approach plus birdie or better. Now, obviously, these two go hand in hand because shots gained approach, basically, it's whenever a guy hits the green in regulation, which gives him a putt for birdie. So when you obviously pair those two up, more likely you're going to find a lot of birdies. So that shouldn't be any surprise, but I did find it was a pretty huge correlation for the 2019 results. The second one I'm looking at, course history. You just need some at this course. We'll go through the recent form tabs and show basically what I'm talking about. You will see that most golfers have decent course history. A couple of them venture into the not so great, but that's very, very few. And then there are some that just don't have course history, like Sung Jae Im last year ended up getting 7th, I believe. So we'll look at golfers like rookies that haven't golfed here before, that are looking to be at least A level golfers, maybe elite level golfers somewhere down the road. So I'm like looking at golfers like Hovland, Wolf, Scheffler to some extent. I do like Scheffler this week, so we'll look at golfers like that. I'm also looking at bent grass average. It is funny to see all of the things on Twitter about what type of grass this is. It is a mixture. I called it a Frankenstein type of grass. You have ryegrass mixed with POA, mixed with bent. That's overseed. Now, for those that don't understand what overseed is, overseed happens when the original grass has a difficult time growing, primarily because of temperature reasons. In the desert, okay, Bermuda grass, which is the base layer, you need to require for that day 60 degrees on average. So that means throughout that entire day, even if temps get up to 80, if in the morning and in the afternoon, if there are enough hours that drops that 80 below 60, that means there's no growth for Bermuda. You need to have an average over 60 degrees. So guess what? It's dormant. There's no Bermuda on this course. None. And if there might be small strains here and there that somehow can survive, but I guarantee you're not going to see any. What you will see is where all the patrons are standing, you're going to see yellow grass. That yellow grass isn't created by them standing there. That'll be there Wednesday, Thursday in the early days. That's the dormant Bermuda. The yellow grass. You saw it at PGA West during the American Express. Go look at highlights for that. You're going to see yellow grass. That's dormant Bermuda. And guess what? Palm Springs is further south than Scottsdale. I lived in Palm Springs for a couple years. Bermuda is just not prevalent there, okay? So I'm going with bent grass average because these greens are going to roll a lot like bent grass. And if not, they're going to roll a lot like ryegrass, which is very similar to bent grass. That's why I go with bent grass. And you're going to see a correlation on the 2019 DK page that's going to show you that having good bent grass stats going to offer you some success here. And then the last two things that I'm going to be looking at go off my bucket system process. So if you're unfamiliar with that, I don't blame you. I'll go over a little bit. Just know it is the most recent last year result and the most recent last week result, which obviously it's a stupid way to say it, but it is the last week result. So that would be the Farmers Insurance Open. Whether they played or not, that it all, I included all. So yeah, we'll go ahead, get into the spreadsheet. We won't continue talking about this, but this is my criteria, what I'm looking at. I have the 2020 DK page up right now. The first thing you're going to notice is the purple and yellow. That basically is my tribute to Kobe. These are golfers who have said something about Kobe, who might actually gain influence by his passing. That's why I have it highlighted. It'll be interesting to see the result of the tournament and see how many guys are up there. I mean, we've heard of Max Homa. Justin Thomas has talked about it. We'll see how many of these guys are actually going to draw some inspiration and do it for Kobe. So first off, that's what the purple and yellow is. I don't really want to stay here. Let's go ahead and right away just let's go to the 2019 DK page, because we already talked a lot about the bent grass as well as the shots gained approach plus birdie or better. I'm going to go ahead and sort it by the results. So these are 2019's results at the Waste Management Open. Let's go ahead and hide this information, because we probably aren't going to need to look at it. How about this? Go ahead, hide it up to here, and then hide these two, or these three. That way we can have course history in there, overall bent, and now you have all the shots gained metrics. Again, what I want you to see is this approach stat. So this is going to be a little confusing for some of you guys. You're going to see all these numbers. These are rankings. So last year when I was putting this all together, I wasn't doing the show back then, but I was kind of in the middle of my spreadsheeting process, where I was gathering stats all over the place and throwing them here. I thought it would be easier doing it by a ranking. So this is what their PGA rank is. This isn't what the rank in the field is. And you're going to see that, like, if I were to sort by approach, you're going to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then skip to 10, 11, and 18. You're just going to see, I mean, sure, we do have a lot of the top guys here in approach, but you don't have everyone. Obviously, that 7 to 10 shows you that there are 2 golfers missing that did not golf at this tournament. But you can already see when I sort it by shots gained approach. So these are the top 20 golfers right here. These guys right here, top 20 golfers for shots gained approach. And really, if I go up to Schauffele, these are your top 14 golfers. There are only 3 missed cuts, and there are what, 1, 4, 5, 9. Then we can count Kokrak. 10 golfers. 10 golfers out of the top 20 that finished inside. Okay. I gotta always watch how I say these things, because it just doesn't make sense sometimes. There are 10 golfers inside the top 20 of shots gained approach that finished inside the top 20 for the tournament. Sounds weird, I know, but basically shots gained approach matters. You had 10 guys finish inside the top 20 for that year. If we go ahead and sort by birdie or better, again, you're going to have a very similar number for the guys up there. And then, you know, not that many missed cuts. Like, that's the big thing to take away from this, is there aren't many missed cuts within this range. Yeah, if I extend it down here, we got a couple more, but it's 5 to 6. You really have very little that are in between, like 33, 60. A lot of them, this light green indicates their top 20 result for that tournament. Now, if I go ahead and sort it back by the result, so we have Ricky Fowler at top. I can't remember what his season looked like last year, but obviously he was 17th birdie or better. So you mix that. The only outlier would be Brandon Grace and Bubba Watson, basically. But Bubba Watson, his approach wasn't actually bad. But again, if we go and we look at everything, I'm just going to highlight all of the shots gained approach with birdie or better that is, you know, pretty decent. So we have 6 golfers right there. Great birdie or better, great approach. The other golfers, not so great with, I mean, like I said, Brandon Grace is the only outlier. So Bubba Watson, not very good, birdie or better, and Chris Stroud, which is kind of also an outlier. But they're 96th and 98th place would be it's pretty far down on the field. So they're right next to each other. They're basically 58th and 59th place, like in the field for approach. So really, I guess they're outliers as well. 3 of them basically, but everyone else pretty decent approach, pretty decent birdie or better. So right away, that's what I'm going to be looking at for birdie or better. That would take care of if we hide the display capture, the spreadsheet, and we pull up the show index. Shots gained approach, birdie or better. Now we'll go on to the course history. So we can already look. We have it again sorted by result. Course history. We have some 60s here, which is kind of an indication of poor course history. But primarily, you're going to want good course history. Or at least some. 2 golfers who did not have course history. Sung Jae, who was a true rookie. Brandon Grace, I'm not sure if he's played here before. But I didn't have any course history on him going back to 2013. But yeah, you want some course history. And then also with that, overall bent grass stats. So if I were to sort by overall bent, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 golfers who missed the cut. Phil being a notable, and Tony Finau also being a notable golfer. But you have Rom, Ricky. Ricky was, obviously, he finished first. He had the second best bent grass stats. But 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 golfers, again, in the top 20 for bent grass stats, finished inside the top 20. And minus 1 golfer, really the top 15. 2 golfers, sorry. But either way, it's another good indicator. It's not an end-all, be-all, stat to look at. Every one of these, though, does not have poor bent grass stats. Like if I were to go, let's get rid of the blanks. As you can tell, the overall bent grass for those that have poor bent grass. Now you can also make the argument like these guys don't have great, they're not good golfers, which I'd give you that. They aren't good golfers. I mean, you can look at the salaries. You can see that DraftKings didn't give a lot of these guys love because they're really probably not that good. I mean, Taylor Gooch had shots gained approach 2 and 19 for birdie or better. So he was high on the list for shots gained approach and birdie or better. The worst in the field for bent grass stats, he missed the cut. If I scroll down, we get to Chesson Hadley, who crept into the orange. So we had, the bottom 26 golfers. Chesson Hadley, you found the first one to be top 20. But as I scroll down through this, you're not going to see a lot of top 20 finishes. It's very sparse. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. How about this? Right before Ryan Palmer. So 61 golfers, you only had 3 that made the top 20. And then as we get down closer, we're going to have a couple more. As opposed to if I were to go ahead and sort this back by top to bottom, I can select all. You had 10 golfers in this top 20, out of 20 golfers of the top 20 overall bent grass to finish inside. So it's very, I think bent grass is actually a good stat to go by. So all that being said, I'm not going to go further into this. We won't talk about the 2019 DK page. I do want to quickly just run through all the recent form tabs. I know we did this during the preview video, so if you guys saw that, I apologize for going over it again, but we're going to go over it again. Having some course history matters. Decent course history, basically. Stroud and Reeve, not, I don't know how to really describe those golfers for their success here, but, whatever. Again, there are only 2 golfers here that have poor course history. Ches Reeve once again. So obviously he figures something out because heading into this tournament, he had 1 finish that was a miscut. That's basically why Ches Reeve's course history was bad. If we went back to it, and took out his course history, he'd have a 2nd place finish and a 4th place finish, which is pretty freaking good. I'm not sure what his course history is now, but I guess that's something to look at. Course history plus last year's result. You know, again, Chris Stroud, one of the outliers, didn't have course history, a good course history, didn't have a good last year finish, didn't have a good recent form heading into this, and didn't have a good last week finish, and he finished inside, you know, top 10. So that's really my only concern, is that guy. Everyone else you can basically make a reason why he did, or why they did well. Going to 2018, again, like we said, some course history matters. So, recent form, this 30 to 50 range, pretty good. Like, you want to be targeting golfers there as well. Here we have a few more. I don't even think a lot of these guys are newbies at this golf course, but my course history just runs to 2013. So I have no idea if some of these golfers, like Louis, has been around for a while. Maybe he's golfed here before. I'm not sure. Maybe Ben An has. Well, I just don't know. But again, having some course history and having it be decent course history, decent to good. 2.33. Obviously, we know Hideki's track record here. Webb 12, Jordan Spieth 7, Zach Johnson 12. I mean, you don't see anyone in this light red, which would be an indicator of 40 to or 60 to 80 in the field. There's 132 golfers here, so that's basically middle of the pack would be this light red color. So above middle of the pack for course history is ideal for this tournament. Here was kind of a weird year. I have no idea what the heck happened at this tournament, because when we go to the notes page and look at kind of the last year, or we look at the bucket system, like the last year result, that's the only time you see less than 3 golfers who had a last year results inside the top 20 finish inside the top 10. So like if we went back here, you had 3. If we go to 2015, you had 3. You actually had 4. So 2016 was a weird anomaly. I'm not sure what happened. I wish I had some details as to what happened at this tournament. You know what we could do, actually? Go ahead, sort by this and just look at the names that are up here. Like Brooks, I think he had an injury. He was battling something that year. Obviously, Hideki did well. Bubba did well. Palmer, you know, that's Ryan Palmer. But then we don't really have any known players. JT, sure, but I know it was close to his rookie year, I think. I can't remember when he was a rookie, but yeah, he only played this one other time before that. So I have no idea what went on with Justin Thomas. But he wasn't the elite golfer that he is now. Yeah, a lot of these names here, not very big names. You're going to see more with a last year finish, you know, top 20 with better name value, basically. So anyways, I think it's just because there weren't very high quality golfers at this tournament that had a last year finish of 1st to 20, and that's why you didn't see many people inside the top 10. But I mean, 14th, pretty darn close. You almost have that once again. But anyways, yeah, 2016, really weird year, because even the finishes here, yeah, I don't know how to describe it or what to explain. But yeah, 2015 again. Now again, like I said, 2013 is where my course history goes back into. So 2015, you're not going to have many golfers that have course history. Same with 2014. But you can tell, like, finishes here. Obviously, these guys had golfed the year before, meaning they had course history. Having some, preferably decent, course history matters. Okay. 20 minutes in, kind of went over. Let's go ahead. Like, we went over all the stats. Let's go ahead, get into actually creating lineups. And as I say that, I just realized we didn't go over the bucket system. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. My bucket system is just a frequency score. That's all it is. How many golfers finished inside this range for the category that I have it for under? So last year's result in 2019, there were 4 golfers that finished inside the top 5. So obviously you see the header up here, the top 5. 4 of them had a first place to 20th place finish at the 2018 tournament. And I can go ahead and validate that with you. 5 to 1. Oh, I'm sorry. 20. We're looking at for 2018. Oh yeah. So here's your top 5. Can't think. Here are your top 5 golfers. Now there's 6 guys who finished top 5. I mean T4. And of those 6 guys, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 golfers finished inside the top 20 the year before. So Chez Reavie was 2nd, Matt Kuchar's 5th, Justin Thomas 17th, Ricky Fowler 11th. Go ahead and validate that. Ricky Fowler, Justin Thomas, Matt Kuchar, Chez Reavie. Those are our 4. I mean, I don't know what else to... Okay, so that's validating what these numbers are, okay? So obviously, I did that all the way going back to 2014 for last year. For last week, I went all the way back through 2013. And we have kind of their count over here. So this is just the count, the sum of all of these together to give me a better understanding of how much better one group is better than another. The first to 20, so finishing inside the top 20 the year before, look at the number. That's insane. Only in 2016, you know, that anomaly year, we had at least 3 golfers finish inside the top 5 for that tournament that had a last year score inside the top 20. Again, that's 1st through 20th. Whatever place falls under there falls into this bucket, and that's my count. That's the frequency. Pretty insane. And everything else, you know, just so-so, you know, like we almost have a very consistent number for golfers who didn't play the year before. That's something to look into. And then for last week, there's definitely a more frequent group to target, and those are golfers who did not play the week before. And then it's just kind of a hodgepodge, just a whatever for the next remaining last week scores. And then I also have by top 10 just to get more numbers to find more consistency. Now it kind of evens out between 1st to 20th and did not play, but everything else still in between, very irrelevant. For the last week stats, the did not play goes up a little bit, and everything else goes up with it. Like, there isn't a very telltale sign of who's going to do well based off of last year or last week's results. Oh, that's we won't look at that much. And then I also go by combination. So this is where I would assume I'd get some flack for paralysis by analysis. But I have all the placement finishing, or all the finishing places right here. And you can see all the different combinations that fall under this. There's really one combination that's worth mentioning. And it's no surprise. Usually every single week that I do this, you're going to find 1-1s all over the place. You don't do it in 2016, but 2015 we do. And 2014 we also do. So we have 9 instances where a 1-1 finished inside the top 10. However, 4 of those years, we have golfers finishing inside the top 3 that were 1-1s. 1-1s are definitely something I am targeting. And when we get to the player pool, you're going to see there are some prevalent 1-1s that we're going to want to use. So I am not afraid to use a 1-1 here, and very liberally. I will be targeting 1-1s like crazy. But I'm going to go back to the bucket system. Really, you want, I set it in the, I'm going to go ahead and show you again the criteria. So 1 to 4 last year ones. And of those last year ones, we want 1 to 3 last week ones. So we want the combination of the last year one, last week one, but it's not, you know, you want at least one. You don't want, I don't want to give you guys the false hope that you want to play 3, but you can play up to 3 because of what we've seen with like what we've seen with each year, all the results. So obviously you had 2 guys that were top 2 that were 1-1s. You have 2 guys over here in 2014 inside the top 6. That's still pretty good. Only 1 guy in 2017. This is still considered top 5, although it's, you know, there were 4 people who tied for 5th place. Still, it counts. And then here you go. This is the only year where there were 3. And really, of the last 6 years, if you do the math, that's only 16% of golfers through the last 6 years. And really, it's just 1 year out of the last 6, which equates to 16%. Were there 3 golfers that were 1-1s that finished inside the top 10? Really, you could say the top 5. So I don't want you guys to have false hope to be like, I am just going to play 1-1s like crazy. I'm still going to be very conservative with it. You know, 5 out of 6 years, that equals 85% of the time we've seen a 1-1 inside the top 5. And still same goes with top 10. But it is a group that I enjoy. Okay. So here I did a count of all the combinations and how many times we've actually seen them inside the top 10 over the last 6 years. We had 9 counts of a 1-1, and of the last 6 years, 5 years had a 1-1 in them. But you see 9 counts. That is by far larger than any other combination. I think you can play it with full certainty. Here's a good one here. There have been 5 counts of a 1-4. Now, if we go and we look at 1-4s, you got a 10th place there, 3rd place, a winner, nothing there, a 7th place finish, and a 6th place finish. So it's not as prevalent, but you still see it 5 out of the last 6 years. But we also only have a count of 5. So it's not like a very common thing. If you guys want to play onto that, go for it. I don't remember what guys are in the 1-4 pool, but it's, you know, it's decent. I'm not gonna really go too far into this. You can see it on the screen, but this is how I'm looking at, like, what confidence I should play these guys at. We really don't see anyone with a last week score of 4, 5, or 6 like being very prevalent, other than a 3-5. And I think that's just happenstance. So really, you want to target last week 1s to 3s, and really you want to target last week 2s. Honestly, you see a much better number doing that. Okay, so now that we've established all of that, let's go ahead and get to the 20. Now we'll start constructing lineups. Close to 30 minutes in. That's no surprise to me that I've gone this far and went along with that. I'm gonna go ahead and sort these by 1s. So let's look at the 1-1 pool first of all. This is the one thing that I've failed to do in previous videos, is looking at the pools. Do we have a confidence? Are we confident that this player pool, this player pool of 7 golfers, one of them is going to finish inside the top 10? I'm going to say yes, because between JT and Webb, I guarantee you, like, I have 95% confidence that one of them is going to finish inside the top 10. With that being said, now we got to determine how many times do we want to play Justin Thomas or Webb Simpson. For me, I really like JT. I'm gonna play him in a lot of lineups. Going back to the rule that we had, or the rule that I posted up there, you want 1 to 3 1-1s in your lineup. You want 4 last year 1s, up to 4 last year 1s. What that tells me is when we look at the player pool, I have these are team Kobe's here. These are all the golfers who've said something about Kobe. Like, I've made lineups out of them. We're gonna go ahead and skip that. But of all of the 1-1s, Now, 1-1s have, so far, they're 5 out of 6, right? That means 85%. I'm making 50 lineups. So that's what this black bar indicates. If I go from here down, this would be 50. Well, this is 50 right here. These are 50 lineups. You can obviously see Justin Thomas reaches all the way down, pretty close to that number. But that's 42. How did I get 42? I'll bring up the calculator here. So if I'm making 50 lineups and I want to play a 1-1 and 85%, ooh, I don't know where that number came. 50 lineups and I want to play a 1-1 and 85% of those lineups, I'm going to go ahead and just do simple math. Times 85%, that gets me 42 lineups. 42 lineups is how many I have of Justin Thomas. So we start up at line 11, counting them all the way down to line 52, that equals 42. I just put placeholders here. I haven't yet started my lineups, but this is what I'm going to do. And we want 1 to 3. Okay. Here's where it's going to get a little bit more analysis by, or paralysis by analysis. I also, okay, of all the 1-1s, I did the math. Like, how often are we going to see 2? So we can count that, right? 1 year we have 2, 2 years we have 2, 3 years we have 2. So that's 50%. Now, 50% of, well, 50 obviously is 25. And I didn't even think about this when I was first doing this. So my second column is going to be 25. This is actually currently 21 because you know what? I am going to do it by 21. This is going to be 50% of that 42 number. That's fine. We're going to go 21 lineups. Perfect. Of there being a second 1-1. There's a 50% chance that we'll see 2 1-1s. Therefore, I have columns 1 and 2 here with 1-1s. Now, column 3, same thing. Go back to the notes page of the Waste Management Open spreadsheet. How many times do we see 3? Just once, right? So 1 out of 6. Do that math. 1 divided by 6, 16%. Times that by 50. And we get 8.33, which I'm just going to round down. So 8 lineups. And really I should... No, I'm cool with that. 8 lineups out of that. It's not... It should actually be 16 out of 42. That's really what it should be. So 0.16 times 42. So we're going to call it 7. And that's fine. I'm totally cool with that. So 7 is going to be the number, which means I have to get rid of 1 Kuchar lineup. It's not going to be Kuchar, but this is how I'm going to do this. Now, what I'm going to do with columns 2 and 3, I'm actually going to go ahead and keep this static. You've seen me randomize it before, but I'm not going to. Not with that one. But for this, out of all of these, what I'm going to do is go ahead and, you know, I don't have to, now that I think of it. You're going to see how I'm going to do this, but I can randomize like this, but I do want these guys to actually match with these 2s over here. So I'll probably just go in and manually just add them to wherever these guys end up finishing. That makes sense? And you're going to see why I'm going to randomize it when we get there. All of this equals out to be 71 total positions, total spots, to put a 1-1 out of 50 lineups. Now, with that, we got to make the decision. I just pulled up something I didn't want to. That's fine. Out of those positions, okay, 71 spots for 7 golfers. How do we want to allocate the ownership? I like Justin Thomas quite a bit. Now, of 50 lineups, how many times do I want him in my lineups? This is really difficult. If we were to pull up, oh, I got rid of the calculator for whatever reason. So 71. If I wanted him in 40% of my lineups, he'd be in 28. Let's say I wanted Webb in just as many. So obviously I'll just times that by 2. So let's say 57. So I'll put JT in 29. I'll put Webb in 28. That still leaves me with 14 lineups to put the other guys in. And actually, I'm very comfortable with that now that I think of it. Now it comes to like the interesting way of actually putting together these lineups. Obviously, okay, we want 29 lineups of JT. So that is, I did that perfect. So I'm gonna put Webb right here and scroll him down just because. This actually gets me 13 of Webb right there. 13 plus, what is that, 21? So obviously that's too many. We won't be having Webb at some of these down here at the bottom. Trying to think, because this is going to be my anchor position right here. If I only have 13 there, 21 equals 34, so I need -6 lineups. Do I want Webb Simpson? Oh, he won't be with JT all the time. Okay. 6 lineups are going to have, or I'm sorry. Hold on. Let's see, is that the number we're looking for? 15 plus 13, right? 28. Yep, that's the number. Let's put Kuchar down here. I'm gonna put him down 3 times right there. I did get rid of 6 Simpsons, but I'm gonna put him there. And honestly, now that I think about it, man, I do like Kuchar. Maybe I put him in. Yeah. Okay. Here's the conundrum. Do we want 85% of our 1-1s? I should say 100% of our 1-1s to be either JT or Webb. You know, they're going to be leading my lineups. And if we're going to take some away from Webb, we have to add them to Justin Thomas, which I also am okay with doing. Okay. Oh, this is the thing though. We're going to run out of space if we do it this way. Because between the 2 columns, well, we have 42, that's 43, but 42 plus, okay, so this equals 60. If you recall, it's 57. So all but 3, you know, if we want to include Simpson and JT, all but 3 lineups. Okay, hold on. I only have leeway for 3. So I can only, like, I have to add, this is my, wow, Eric, speak. This is the only gap, I guess that's probably the right word, the only cushion that I have to work with not putting Simpson with JT. And I think I would, if we're going all in on those golfers, we have to do it this way. I can't put Simpson over here. I can't do it. It won't work. And to add the other guys in, so 50, so 14. Okay, so obviously we would add 3 here, 3 plus, what is this, 7? That's only 10. I don't get it. Let's see, what is this, 21? This is 18. Okay, so I can actually keep that back to where it was. Okay. Man, I was getting really concerned because I didn't think that this was 21, but it makes sense. So I have six positions, 6 spots open that I can kind of mix and match. So I can put Webb down a couple more times. We can go something like this. Actually, I do want a little bit more Kuchar. So we'll go 2 there. Kuchar can be on his own right there. And that might be dangerous because now I'm basically saying of 42 lineups, it's only going to be Justin Thomas, Webb Simpson, or Matt Kuchar who's going to lead the way. So that's 42. This should still be 21, right? Yes, that's still 21. Okay, I do want some Simpson and Kuchar together. Kuchar's by himself down here. I like this. I'm okay with this because out of the 1-1s, do you think these 4 golfers are going to lead the way in finding the top 10? Probably not. I guarantee you one of these guys are going to be at the top. And then we can mix and match basically some of the other guys and put them in there. Again, we have 14. Well, with Matt Kuchar, we have 14 positions available. So maybe I'll trim up that ownership. I'll probably trim up that ownership. But to go away from that, what we're going to do is basically select all but then these guys. And now you're going to see a very vast player pool. With, I mean, like, these guys right here alone all have very high win equity. So 7 golfers have 30-1 or better odds, are ranked inside the top 56. I think we need to add these guys to the lineup with some of these guys, which I don't think will be difficult. Again, we want 1 to 4 last year ones. I honestly think we're going to at least have 2. I think 2 is the bare minimum that you want of last year ones. And the other last year ones are probably going to fit right in there. Again, 100% of lineups, 100% of the top 10, and actually the top 5. So if we look, every single year there's been at least one last year one that finished inside the top 5, which means it's 100%. I think it's that trend is going to continue. We're going to have another last year one that's going to be inside the top 10, which basically any of these guys here, you know, are probably going to do it. If the 1-1s don't, I think it's just a no-brainer. So if I were to copy John Rahm, throw him here and say, I want to have 4 unique lineups with John Rahm, and then mix and match them up here, so, you know, just somewhere. Maybe I'll put some JT together so it gives me 6,800. That's not bad. I don't mind that. I'm not gonna mind doing that. I'm unfortunately not gonna do that because I haven't decided how I want to create these lineups just yet. Actually, how about this? I will do a good job of going through this with you guys. I'm fine with that. Okay, so let's go ahead and pretend. So we have all the Simpson lineups. We wanted 28 of Simpson, right? That's 27. Did I miss one? Or was it 27 and 28? No. We wanted one more Simpson. Actually, I'm just going to leave it there. 27 sounds fine. We'll keep it a little quick. And that's 29. Okay, that's fine. So 29 JT, 27 Webb. Totally fine with that. And we have them kind of playing together. How much Kuchar do we want? Currently, I have Kuchar in how many positions? How many spots? 14. Now, that's pretty high. What is 14 divided by 50? 28%? That's too much. I don't want Kuchar in 28% of my lineups. What am I comfortable playing Kuchar at? 15%, maybe? So here. 50 times 0.15. 7.5. I'll put them in 7. Totally fine. I do want to pair him up with JT at least twice. We'll go ahead and pair him up with here. Okay, so these are my other guys to mix in when I don't have Kuchar. So I'm gonna put them right here off to the side. Okay, so we want 7 lineups. These 2 are locked. These 2 are locked. These 2 are locked. That's 6. So we'll do 1 with these 3. Totally fine. So basically this will substitute and then that one. Yep. Perfect. I guess what I'm gonna do right here is go ahead and just put all of them right there. I probably like Russell Henley more. I like no, we gotta put Reeve and Scott Piercy. We gotta do it. It's just the more reasonable approach. Brandon Grace. We wanted one trimmed here. Okay, just one. So I think I would rather have Ches Reeve. Nah. Yeah. Sure. So I'm gonna get rid of one Ches. Put another Russell. Okay. Yep. No, that's fine. So I've got a couple there. There we go. The 1-1s are settled. I have all the 1-1s, and that's how I figured that out. I should have 7 lineups with Kuchar in it. If I go and look at my ownership over here, I think this is Kuchar. That's 15.22. That's Kuchar. Okay. So 15% of my lineups have Kuchar in it. Currently, 80% have JT in them. Is that correct? I suppose out of 37. I haven't filled in the rest. So that's, yeah, makes sense. Oh, that includes up here as well. Okay. All right. Shoot. Yeah, I'm not gonna, whatever. So these are my Kobe lineups. That includes Kobe up there, which is gonna make these different. But we know what the actual ownership percentage is. Either way, works for me. Now we throw in Jon Rahm, so we have 4 of him here. I do want him with JT probably 3 more times. And if we were to look at how much, again, so here's one thing that I failed to mention. I have these percentages over here based off of what that combination looked like. We talked about it earlier, but what that combination looks like for the last 6 years, how often did that finish inside the top 10? So his combination only finished inside the top 10 33% of the time, which means 2 out of 6. 2 years out of the last 6, it's finished inside the top 10. I think Jon Rahm's good enough to do that. And if we were to go ahead and sort this and look at all the other 1-3s, we've got Bubba and Charlie Hoffman. I think one of those is going to do well in boosting it up. I'm not going to go ahead and do the same math to figure out how often I want to play Jon Rahm or Bubba Watson or Charlie Hoffman. I'm probably just going to eyeball this because I don't mind putting any of those guys in there. And I guess if we really wanted, okay, if we wanted like a threshold, 33%, if one doesn't make the top 10, is going to drop that down to 28%. If one actually does finish inside the top 10, that'll bump up that number to 42%. I think there's a good chance that that happens. So 50 times 0.42. That player pool, I want 21 golfers. 21 positions filled by Rahm, Watson, or Hoffman. And that's totally fine. I know I said I wasn't going to do it, but I'm going to do it. 21, hey. Jon Rahm, I have 4, 7. So I have him in 7 lineups already. Might as well add him to... So that's 9. So now I have 12 positions open for either... I think I want Jon Rahm in one more JT lineup. I feel like that's the way to do this. Sure. So now I have Rahm in 10 lineups out of the 21. So 50% of that, that's fine. And 10 lineups, I mean, that's 20% ownership for all of my lineups. That's totally fine. So now we'll go with Bubba. And really, when we fill this out, we can throw Bubba wherever we want to. I can throw him here. Doesn't leave me with a lot. I can throw him up here. Probably goes over. Oh, yeah, big time. Can't do that. So I'm probably not going to be able to put Bubba in any of these lineups. He's already right there. 6,200 leaves me with 62. Huh. Do we do that? I mean, we can see what's at the bottom. Let's see how much bubble is that? 1, 2, 3. Okay, we'll put them with Simpson. I'll put them with Rom. Well, here's the tricky part. How often do we see 1-3s several times? Okay, we do have one instance, so that's fine. I just wanted to see if it happened at least once. So it did, so that's fine. I'm cool with this. 3, 4, 5. So obviously 10 plus that 5 means there's 6 available positions open for Charlie Hoffman, which I don't want 6. I would rather have like maybe 4. Sure. So now Charlie Hoffman will come in, and I probably can pair him up. Yeah, we can do that. That's fine. Now I can add him with any of these golfers. That's totally cool. And this is kind of where it becomes difficult. Like, I don't know exactly where I want to put Hoffman because he can fit in so many laps. So there's 3. I could do something like that. Totally fine. I'm cool with that. We'll leave it at that. So that's 21 lineups for all the 1-3s. And I'm going to do that with all of these other groups. You know, the 1-4s, 83.33%. Do we think that happens? Probably not. Like with Sungjae, I don't think, if you're giving me a player pool of 3 golfers right here, how likely are any of these guys going to finish inside the top 10? I like Sungjae's odds pretty decently. I don't care for Kokrak. I don't care for Russell Knox. So I'm going to actually go the one below it, which is 71%. And I don't even know if I feel that comfortable playing 71% of lineups with, you know, any of these guys. Like, I'd probably have to go like Sungjae heavy, which, I mean, Sungjae's already heavy, but I don't know how much I want to play of Sungjae. I don't even know where I can fit Sungjae in a lot. That's fine. That's cool. All right, let's figure this one out. I mean, there's so many other different combinations, but 83% is definitely one of the highest. This is what we actually have to do before we make any decision on that. I have 16 golfers here. We already went through the 1-3s. We're done with the 1-3. The 1-2s have pretty good golfers in it. I mean, very good golfers in the 1-2. 50%, I'm sure that's going to jump up to, what is it, 50 to 57. So they'll jump up to 57% for sure. I would rather start with this group than with the 1-4s. Because it's just going to be way too difficult to think of Ricky after the fact. So I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of the Sungjae. And I don't even know why I started with the 1-3s. I think it was because John Rahm was at the top of it, and the fact that John Rahm himself can move that bucket combination up. That's why I did that. But definitely 1-2s should arguably be higher on the list. I'm gonna play virtually no Chris Stroud, so I don't even have to worry about that. So out of this 50%, like I said, it's going to move up to 57%. So 50 times 0.57, or, well, you know, 57%. 28.5, let's just say that's 29. Out of 29 lineups, I want to add that many, these golfers here. What are my numbers? What do we like? Now, if I'm doing like a whole comprehensive, I already know who some of these golfers are. But I would come over here. I start all the golfers that have either good stats. That's something I failed to mention earlier. I've started all the golfers that have good bent grass to go along with good shots gained approach, as well as birdie or better. So, or I shouldn't say as well. I think it's just all of the same. Like, so 52, 65, all of these guys have been highlighted. All have good birdie or better. Approach, Ricky. I think this is Ricky at the top, and obviously this. I think it's Chris Stroud. Maybe don't. Is it Chris Stroud? Oh, Harold Varner. So Harold Varner and Ricky, just They're the two golfers that don't have very good approach, but birdie or better, pretty darn good. All this bent grass stats, very good. That's why they're starred. I forgot to mention that earlier, but there you go. That's why they're starred. I should have mentioned it earlier because who knows how many people are watching right now. If you've gone to this point, appreciate it. Thank you. But yeah, out of all these golfers, I like them all except for Chris Stroud, of the 1-2s, that is. So think, okay, we don't like Chris Stroud. I'm gonna put a big fat 0 next to his name. Harold Varner, I like a bit, but let's start with Ricky. We're looking at 29 lineups that we want these guys to be in. If we split it pretty much down the even, that's 6 per group. That's fine. I'll start with 6 with Ricky. I'll start 6 with Xander. I'm going to go ahead and do 4 Woodland. So now that's 16. We need 13 more. I'm going to go 7 Hadley and 6 Varner. And then I'm going to sprinkle them wherever I can. I don't think I can put Ricky up with Webb. Okay, this gives me 6,000. I'm going to do it just for the hell of it. Justin, Webb, and Ricky. I know there are $6,000 golfers that well, let's look. Yeah. So these were added after. I didn't have his DraftKings stats, but of the $6,000 golfers, I like Mackenzie Hughes. We'll play him. Oh man, KH Lee, if only. If only. Do we play Martin Train? Okay, this is just a crapshoot. I'm gonna put Roger Sloan. Sure. So I need one more. Who's it gonna be? Martin Trainer? KJ Choi? Should we put KJ? Any of these guys have good? So we already selected the guys that have decent bent grass. Bo Van Pelt? And his course history isn't so bad. KJ Choi? Same? Sure, let's do KJ. There we go. This is stupid. So we have our first lineup completed. Just like that, guys. Just like that. That gives me 0%. That's funny. I like this. This is a fun lineup. But I'm not going to continue going on. This video is about at an hour. I don't know how many of you guys are going to actually watch it, especially up to this point. So this is how I'm going to do the rest of the lineup for the rest of the night. Obviously, yeah. The only ones that I've started on are these, and I'm probably just going to put these in 10-cent games. You know, this is just to basically tribute to Kobe. I'm not really confident in a lot of these lineups, but there are some good players up there that I was able to fit together, and this gives you quite a bit of difference. So if you guys want to copy it, go for it. Pay tribute to Kobe with me. I don't mind sharing those lineups together. But yeah, for the rest of them, I'm just gonna go fill it in. Like I'm actually gonna hand create these lineups this time instead of randomizing them. I don't like how I basically I was on a lot of players last week and it just didn't turn out to be the greatest because of the randomization put some of my good golfers with bad ones and some of my really good support golfers with expensive guys who didn't finish inside the top 10. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and fill in the rest. Like I said, 1 to 4 last year ones. That's what this dark green color indicates. So I'm doing that in all of these. You know, some of these I'll just leave alone. Like I won't put a 1 with some of these golfers. But yeah, I'll fill in some down here as well. I'll probably put a couple Ricky lineups by themselves. Actually, no, these will all be last year ones. But either way, some of these will just be open. Some of them will have 3, some of them will have 4, some of them will have 5. You know, if I can fit them in, I will do it. Yeah, we're going to leave the video at that. Thank you for watching, guys, honestly. if you've made it to this point, leave a comment. I will give you next week's spreadsheet for free. So if you want next week's spreadsheet, you've gotten all the way to this point, leave a comment. I don't even care what it is. And in fact, why don't you email me? Email what you see in the description, and I will give you, because I'm gonna need your email. I'll give you access to next week's spreadsheet. So yeah, figured that's the least I could do. In the future, I'm gonna try to sell these for sure. But for the time being, yeah, I appreciate you guys watching all the way up to this point. So again, thank you for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you Sunday.